NSC Fan TV, Scott, Drew, Gold Cup 1-0 victory, winning the whole thing against Mexico.
Man, it took extra time too.
It took plenty of extra time.
Made a meal of it.
I did not want it to go to penalties, and I'm
so pleased about that.
I'm so glad it didn't because I was scared about that.
I didn't want to see penalties. As a
neutral though, you always want to see penalties.
Yeah, maybe. Right. I mean, maybe sometimes seeing like a team score a winner is worth it.
Sometimes,
I'll even say I have to admit that I kind of missed the golden goal. The idea of the golden goal, like a kind of a sudden death goal. I feel like that sort of heightens everything, but it does. I think that maybe one of the things that it kind of like the away goal problem makes teams play actually more conservatively. And so the golden goal actually makes it so that like a goal is just so incredibly costly that teams would rather just turtle up and not.
So that you don't have to deal with that.
Right.
The thing about penalties though is that they do leave things to the hands of fate, honestly. Because at a certain point, you can try to control for all the variables you want. But as soon as you get in front of that, you know what I mean? It takes skill, of course, to do the kind of things and be a good penalty taker.
And to make saves.
And to make saves as a goalkeeper, but it ultimately, guessing properly can be the difference between a win and a loss in that case.
That's right.
So there's a problem with penalties.
That is a problem with penalties.
Things are in the hands of fate at a certain point.
But it's, you know what, I take fate playing its role in that rather than flipping a coin.
Yeah.
It's like, if it's just fate, then why aren't we flipping coins?
That's another thing. Hold on, though. Flipping coins matters to penalties, too. Whoever takes it first, I think, has a huge advantage. Yeah. It means that you can get ahead quicker, and that gets in their head.
And that gets in their heads.
That gets in their head. Like, no, I've got to make
this.
It's
funny, though. You know, I'll say that if the numbers do say that going first actually gives you a sort of an overall advantage, I will say that sometimes going last actually allows you to be able to control things. Like, you know what you need to do. I wonder about this.
Right. That's actually a good point, where going first isn't the best, because you go first and then you're like, okay, now I know exactly
now I know what I need to do. But
and then maybe you mess up, and now
I'd rather just not take penalties. I'd rather just watch them.
I'd rather just watch them. I was gonna say, don't even want to think about it. I don't even want to think.
Why are we talking about penalties? We didn't have to go to penalties.
Think about it. We didn't have to go to penalties.
Why? Because of a brilliant ball from Acosta.
Acosta's ball, and I think was amazing. And when I saw that, I was like, why didn't he let us just play Advent?
Well,
and then I immediately stopped talking, because Robinson did exactly what he needed to do.
Gets over the top.
Head down. Gets over the top. Head down.
And that ball bounced in front of Talavera, didn't it? Did it bounce in front of him, or did?
No, I think it bounced. I think it bounced in front of him. That's why you head down, though, because you try to bury it. There's too much of a chance for them to either get hands on it or for it to go wide.
Right.
You head down. It's gonna bounce.
It's gonna go in line.
It'll
it's hard to and especially if it ends up at the feet of the goalkeeper. I mean, that's like, you have to get. Unless you got down. Feet on it. Yeah.
Well, then too, you've got to think about how fast it's going too. Yeah. And then too, if it's at an angle, right, it might keep going further, right. It's not going to be exactly in line. Yeah.
So that's interesting. Okay, so I can see the advantages of that. I mean, I thought that it was just mostly like, just don't hit it over. Right?
Don't hit it over. Yeah. But trying to bury it can put you in a worse spot, I think. But
interesting.
Robinson didn't do it. He headed down, and I think it was great.
What a goal! And
and I
was so tired though. Like it was such an emotional game. Like that went in, and I was like, I want to celebrate, but I'm so, because we had watched the NSC game before, and so it was like we were almost 3 hours into soccer watching. I was tired, man.
I was in a soccer trance, just trying to make sure things didn't go to penalties.
Second reason to root against penalties for that guy. It's like, I don't have it in me.
It was so draining just sitting there watching chances go wide for us. Because Areola had a ton of chances, but I don't know what it was. He was just taking his shot too early.
It's one off the post.
One off the post. There was one.
And he got one way, and it was this really pretty ball that got wide. He did create a chance where I think it was in the second half where he kind of collected it off of a sort of a sloppy pass out of the back, and then went, I think, passed it wide to Zardes. But then it kind of just got into some sort of like defender soup over in the corner.
And so it was a mess.
There was a mess.
But I think that he had at least 2 chances that I think were close, but there was they hit the post or it was just kind of wide. I mean, I thought he was gonna bury that one, but I think he may have taken it a bit early. He was under pressure from 2 guys, so
right.
I do understand.
And I think that the ball was kind of the ball had kind of come out to him and had taken him a little bit wider than I think that he wanted to be.
But it's hard to get the angle right too. Like that you have to. It's very I don't even know what the right word is, but there's not a very nice gap for you to try to fit it into. You have to thread the needle.
You have to thread that needle. He was going near post.
Yeah.
So we had been criticizing DK the choice of starting DK in the semifinal
over
match.
Zardes.
Over Zardes. Well, we got our wish.
We did. Zardes started.
We got our wish.
And he
was all right. He was all right.
He
was all right. I mean, there were a couple chances that he had. He did have a couple times where I remember that he came back and kind of dug the ball out, which again I thought was like, why is he doing this? I
thought it too. Yeah, but given our setup, the 4-3-3, I was like, why is he? He doesn't need to do that. He needs to be up as far forward as he can really be, because especially for Cincinnati, and he plays the 11 role, you know. Yeah.
So he was all right. Let's talk about our favorite target of criticism, Hoppe.
Matthew Hoppe, a talk of the town in the Bundesliga, and the thing is, I know I was giving him a ton of praise and you were giving him flack last time, but I think I'm coming around to it. He honestly had less of a positive impact than the other forwards that game.
I agree.
And overall, I saw him losing the ball in the midfield going forward, and he would not come back to dig it out.
Right.
And I think defensively, he's not the greatest.
Yeah,
I think I admitted that last time.
And maybe that was just the game plan. So whenever we were like, "Why is Zardes coming back?" we were like, "Do you want Hoppe coming back?"
No, it's okay. Actually,
would you rather Matthew Hoppe coming back, hacking folks and acting all pissed at things?
But it is pitiful to watch him lose the ball and then just kind of
be like, you know what? I got to save my energy for whenever I have the ball next, or something.
But then he would get the ball next, and then nothing would come from it. So it's just, I don't know. It's just.
I like his work. I mean, he's just clearly a talented athlete. He's clearly got good touch. He's clearly got good instincts.
He knows when to push. I think, but overall, the decision making is the problem. That's what I'm noticing, at least for his play for us in the red, white, and blue, is that the decision making is the problem.
So there was a lot of talk about this team being the USAB team, and
there was,
and you know I don't think that it's a B plus. I don't think that it's a B team. I think it's a B plus or an A minus team.
Yeah, I think that's right. People were critiquing the layout and saying, "Oh, this was just the JV," but I don't think it just was though. I think with Turner as keeper, right? I think he's an excellent keeper. I think defensively we looked great too, and we were able to somehow, even though we were outclassed in the midfield, keep things under wraps for that as long as we did, honestly. Yeah,
and I think that even I might qualify what you said about being outclassed in the midfield. I did think that Herrera was clearly he was the best player in the midfield.
Yeah,
but I think that outclass is maybe a little strong.
Okay.
Okay. I think that there were times where I felt like they did impose their will control-wise on us, but I think that Acosta wasn't shut out the way that he had been against Cutter.
Yeah. Oh man.
And I think, and you know, you and I agreed that I think that the player that I want to see the most from is Busio. You and I agree about that guy. I think that he is such an exciting, smart player with vision and a good foot.
And good, he's
got good link up play.
His
with other
soccer
players.
IQ is insane. It's immense. I think for Sporting KC, he's great. Everyone loves him.
Yeah,
and he really does. He was taking for us all the spot kicks.
Well, he had been until this
until
game.
Acosta came
until Acosta and he took all those spot and I think it was because he was the starter and Busio came on 60, 70 minute or something like that.
I thought not starting Busio was kind of interesting too, and honestly, I thought starting Sands was very interesting after the after whatever happened the last game where Sands really almost gave everything up, gave the penalty up. Had really just couldn't stop.
I think that was just one. So the penalty, we agree. He got smoked.
He got smoked and stuck his foot.
Very choppy.
He got choppy. Yeah, he got choppy.
He got smoked. But I don't think that I was worried that he was going to be outclassed. I think that the place where I had the most worries was about Sands and Funes Mori.
Mori, okay.
That was where I was most worried, because I looked at that matchup and I was like, Sands isn't as fast, he's not as tall, he's not as good in the air, he's not into soccer as smart as Funes Mori, and Funes Mori did get chances, and one or two of them pretty good ones, but didn't get a lot of space. Was for the most part locked out, and was often overlooked for Mexico's passing, despite the fact that I think that Herrera had the ball and had lots of good. He did not have channels to Funes Mori. He did not get a lot of balls at his feet. He did, and that's a testament to Sands and Robinson locking that guy down.
Robinson, I think. I mean, of course, not even the goal, right? But had a great game.
Yeah,
honestly, back there. I think I was a bit worried about Gallardo, Mexico's 23,
he's another,
flying down their left wing, because as a wing back, he's just immense. I mean, he starts for them, honestly, in the World Cup, if I'm not mistaken.
He's a great worker.
He just flies down that left wing and does so much work.
He's got great control at speed. That's one of the things that you rarely see, which is that, like, you got folks who can, like, take that ball and just fly with it, but it has to be all straight. you know? But he'll stop on a dime.
Yeah.
He's really something.
And it's dangerous when your right back is trying to go forward and can't get back on counters.
Right.
Because he'll just fly down and he'll be where he needs to be.
So did we see? And so was that? Who's our right back? Wasn't Vines? Was it?
Was it Vines? Hold on now.
Yeah, I'm not gonna remember. I'm not gonna remember. We had some challenges. We had some challenges.
We waited. I'd have to think too much.
Yeah. So I think that our play in the front was okay. Playing the midfield was okay. Playing the back was very good.
Playing the back was.
And then we had Turner.
Absolute, just
another shutout.
Keeping it all back. I mean,
and so in the last week, you and I have seen two shutouts from Turner. One of them we were happy to see.
One of them we were excited. Red, white, and blue. Always
red, white, and blue, pulling for that guy.
But for Revolution, I mean,
playing for the Rev. He was also playing it for the red, white, and blue. But
I was gonna say technically that is the red, white, and blue. I've got to say something though, just a passing glove comment. They have Mickey Mouse kids. They have the red shorts, the blue shirt with the white.
Little white.
I mean, but anyway,
anyhow,
that's the red, white, and blue, but in a different sense.
Yeah,
in a different respect.
It's true. I will say, I mean, kind of in the same spirit. I liked the U.S. white.
The white
jersey is a classic looking jersey. But man, do I hate the blue and red jersey for the U.S. national team. I
don't like it.
That is the worst Paul Clay painting. It looks like Paul Clay. It looked like someone was like, "Hey, let's do something that looks like Paul Clay but terrible, and then make it a shirt but only on the front."
It looks bad.
It was so dumb looking, and I hated it.
But even Mexico's kits, the pink they went with, the dark black, and then the pink. The pink was sort of a like neon.
Yeah.
I think it looks better with the more muted matte pink, kind of like Inter Miami.
Yeah.
Right? But
so I was watching the Mexico national team, their Olympic team, play Brazil.
Yeah.
They were beat in the semis, and they were in that classic Mexico Verde.
Yeah. And the under 23s, right?
Yeah, the U23s, and by the way, they were beat by Brazil with Richarlison, and
that's right. Yeah,
the Brazilians did not hold back.
I saw the lineup.
They brought Danny Alves.
I saw that. I was like, I looked at the lineup for that game, and I thought this is going to be a mess.
Yeah. Well, they sent Ochoa in the goals for Mexico, so they thought that they would be able to. Yeah. But I'm not. I have opinions about smart looking kits, and I think that the Mexico Verde, that green Mexico kit, is such a classic, beautiful shirt.
Yeah.
I don't see the black with the pink highlights as an upgrade.
Well, and I grew up seeing the green too.
Yeah,
I grew up seeing people in the green. And I was like, that's the Mexico kit.
That's the Mexico kit.
You would see it everywhere.
And I don't think it's my place to tell people what to wear.
No, yeah, I don't.
Other countries, it's like much less. But
our like, it's not like our kits.
I hate our kit.
I was gonna say.
It was like, well, if we're on the topic of kits we hate, I hate the Mexico black and pink too.
I think the green is just classic.
I just miss it. But whatever, you know what? If they want to play in garbage-looking kits, fine. I'll root against them regardless.
Especially if the play matches the kits. In that case, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
But early on, I didn't think their play matched their kit.
Yeah.
The first 20 minutes, I felt. I think I have to amend something I said earlier. I said we were outclassed in the midfield. I'll amend that and say in the first 20 or so minutes we were outclassed.
I was worried. We were watching that game together, and I was like, "This is gonna be a long evening because I'm gonna get grouchy and kick Andrew out of the halftime."
That's gonna be. I was.
You guys have to go home, man.
I was already pissed.
I'm done.
Like, this is too much. We're not even at the half. But somehow kept the clean sheet. I mean, not somehow. It was Turner's brilliant play in the back along with the defenders.
Really, right. Turner's great play and the central defense playing great.
Sands having a good game, actually. I was so worried every time I saw the ball at his feet just because of conditioning from the last game. But then I got over it.
I'll agree with you. I think that there were moments where I was sort of heart in throat.
Yeah,
watching the ball in the back for us.
But,
all right. Well, how you feeling? We said enough?
I think we've said enough.
Okay.
NSC Fan TV, Gold Cup victory. USA 1-0 over Mexico. Sign